Good day everyone, I am Richard Angelo Luzon from the Bachelor of Science and Civil Engineering, and for today we will solve a sample problem involving elastic collision. The problem is a 1.60 kg block initially moving to the right with a velocity of 4 meters per second on a frictionless horizontal track collides with a muscle spring attached to a second block with a mass of 2.10 kilograms moving to the left with a velocity of negative 2.50 meters per second. The spring has a spring constant of 600 Newton per meter. So in this problem, we are looking for two unknowns. The first one is determine the velocity of the second block at the instant when the first block is moving to the right with a velocity of positive 3 meters per second. And the second one is find the compression of the spring at that time. So we will solve that problem. So in this particular problem, we are tasked to find two unknowns. The first one that we need to find is the final velocity of the box 2 when the initial velocity of the box 1 is positive 3 meters per second. The second one that we need to find is the compression of the spring at that time. Ito yon, yung spring between them. Hahanapin natin yung compression nito at this specific moment. So, ito yung representation nung scenario na to, o dahil composes ng dalawang box sa isang plane na frictionless at meron tayong spring, yan yung mga participants or yun yung mga kasama dun sa overall system na to. Meron din tayong mga given values such as the initial velocity, the spring constant, the mass of the two boxes. Yan yung mga ibinigay sa ating given. At meron tayong hahanapin, which is yung una nating isosolve muna is yung letter A. At gagawa nating masolve yung final velocity kapag in-apply natin yung momentum conservation. Bakit? Kasi wala namang external force na involved dito dun sa system na to, kaya pwede natin siyang gamitin. Alam natin na ang equation na to is the initial momentum is equals to the final momentum. At yung initial momentum comprises of m sub 1 plus v sub 1 plus m sub 2 multiplied by v sub 2 equals, alam din natin na ang final momentum comprises of m sub 1, v sub 1 prime or final plus m sub 2 multiplied by v sub 2 prime or final. At dahil nga ang gusto nating kunin dito, remember, ang hinahanap natin is yung final velocity. Ito yon. Ito siya. Dahil nga prime yan, ibig sabihin din yan is final. Hindi natin ma-isolate to sa other side of the equation. Kaya itong part na to ay itra-transpose natin dun sa kabilang side ng equation. Therefore, nabago ngayon yung sign nito. Makikita nyo, nabago, naging negative. At ang napunta na lang dun sa side ng equation na yon is yung m sub 2 multiplied by v sub 2 prime. Dahil nga may katabi pa siya at nagde-derive tayo, kailangan mawala tong m sub 2 at mangyayari yan kapag nag-divide tayo both sides ng m sub 2. So, ayan, ginawa natin siya. Magkakaroon tayo ng cancellation. Ang matitira na lang is ito. So, ito ngayon yung pinaka-equation na ating gagamitin. Huwag natin kalimutan na may denominator pa yan na m sub 2 kasi hindi naman yan na-cancel. Ang na-cancel lang yung nasa kabilang equation. So, ito ngayon yung equation na lalagyan natin ng mga values. Diyan natin ipla-plug in yung mga values. So, plugging in the values, alam natin na ang mass nung unang box is 1.6 kg. Alam din natin na ang initial velocity nung box 1 is 4 meters per second. Substitute lang natin yung 2.1 kg na mass naman nung box 2 at yung kanyang negative 2.5 meters per second na initial velocity minus, plug in lang ulit natin yung mass nung box 1 which is 1.6 kg nga. At after nun is i-plug in lang natin ulit yung v sub 1 na prime or yung final velocity ng box 1. So ano ba yung final velocity niya given yan, which is yung positive 3 meters per second niya. At ang ilalagay natin sa denominator is yung m sub 2. M sub 2 yan, hindi siya exponent. So ano ba yung m sub 2 natin? M sub 2 natin is 2.10 kilogram. After nyan is magproproceed lang tayo dun sa mga operation na to. At by calculating, mag-a-arrive tayo ngayon dito sa sagot na to. Ang makukuha nating sagot is negative 1.737 meters per second. So bakit nagkaroon tayo ng negative value? Nagkaroon tayo ng negative value dahil nga yung direction ng velocity na to is papunta dito. At yung side na yon is regarded as negative. Yung side na papunta naman dito ay yung positive. Kaya naman nagkaroon tayo ng negative value. Moreover, regarding dito sa sign, we should be mindful na na-cancel yung kilogram. Kaya ang natira na lang na unit is meters per second, which is tama dahil ang hinahanap natin is velocity at ang kanyang unit is meters per second. So in solving for letter B, we are tasked to find the x. Kailangan nating mahanap yung compression ng spring at this specific moment nung nagkaroon ng compression yung spring nung gumagalaw itong box 1 and box 2. So to solve that problem, we will employ the energy conservation equation at alam natin na ang energy conservation ay initial energy is equals to final energy. At dahil nga ang reference point natin dito is ito, wala naman tayong elevation na kailangan i-consider, therefore tatanggalin na natin yung gravitational potential energy. Wala na tayong kailangan i-include na ganun kasi nga directly nasa ground na tong mga system na to. Kaya naman makakapag-conclude na tayo na yung initial energy will be only comprised by 1/2 multiplied by m sub 1 multiplied by v sub 1 square plus 1/2 multiplied by m sub 2 multiplied by v sub 2 square plus 1/2 multiplied by kx initial square is equals to sa final energy, which is comprised by 1/2 multiplied by m sub 1 multiplied by v sub 1 prime square plus 1/2 multiplied by m square multiplied by v sub 2 prime square plus 1/2 multiplied by kx final square or prime. Dahil nga dito, ito na yung mangyayari dyan, ito na siya. At alam natin na yung initial state pa naman kasi nung scenario na to, hindi pa naman kaagad na compress dyan yung spring. Kasi ito yung x initial, ito yung x final. Dito sa point na to, hindi pa naman nako-compress yung spring. Therefore, pwede natin itong i-cancel. Kaya na-cancel to, mag-equate ngayon yan sa 0. So, masisimplify pa yung pagde-derive natin ng equation na gagamitin. Ang matitira na lang ngayon dun sa equation na to is 1/2 multiplied by m sub 1 multiplied by v sub 1 square plus 1/2 multiplied by m square multiplied by v square sub 2 is equals to 1/2 multiplied by m sub 1 multiplied by v sub 1 prime square plus 1/2 m sub 2 multiplied by m sub 2 rather multiplied by v sub 2 prime square plus 1/2 multiplied by kxf or final or pwede rin natin tawagin prime square. Ngayon, dahil ito yung kailangan nating kunin, we should take note na ito yung pinaka-target nating ma-isolate dyan. Ililipat natin to, maggagawa tayo ng transposition. Pag nag-transpose tayo, mababago yung sign niya, kaya magiging ganito na lang siya. Ang matitira na lang sa other side of the equation is ito, yung 1/2, at itong pinaka-mismong gusto nating makuha sa equation. Kaya naman magiging 1/2 multiplied by kxf square is equals to 1 half multiplied by m sub 1 multiplied by v sub 1 square plus 1 half multiplied by m sub 2 multiplied by v sub 2 square minus, nagkaroon ng minus kasi nag-transpose tayo na bago yung sign, 1 half multiplied by m sub 1 multiplied by v sub 1 prime square minus 1 half multiplied by m sub 2 multiplied by v sub 2 prime square. Ngayon, at this point, kailangan pa rin nating ma-eliminate tong katabi niya, which is yung 1 half. Kailangan din nating ma-eliminate yung k, kasi kailangan ang matira lang dyan is purely ito lang. Kailangan din nating ma-eliminate yung exponent na to. So, iisa-isahin natin yan. The first thing that we will do is to multiply both sides of the equation by k. So, by doing so, makakancel yung k dito sa side na to. At magkakaroon tayo ng k ngayon dito sa other side of the equation. Kasi wala namang magkakancel dyan. Kasi wala namang k dito sa numerator. The second one is, makakancel na yung 1 half. Kasi meron naman tayong 1 half dito sa side na to, same as dito. So, masisimplify na yung equation. Ang kailangan na lang nating ma-eliminate itong square. So, ang kalalabasan na yan ngayon is final x square is equals to m sub 1 multiplied by v sub 1 square plus m sub 2 multiplied by v sub 2 square minus m sub 1 multiplied by v sub 1 prime square minus m square or m sub rather multiplied by v sub 2 prime square over k. So ngayon makikita pa rin natin kailangan tong mawala yung square kasi may exponent siya, and to get rid of it, i-square natin ulit both sides. Pag na-square kasi yan, makakancel na to kasi di ba may 2 dito, hindi lang sinusulat. Makakancel yan, ito din makakancel. Ang matitira na lang entirely is yung x sub f at yung mismo equation na to, matitira na rin yung square root dito kasi hindi naman makakancel yan. Kaya magiging final x is equals to the square root of m sub 1 multiplied by v sub 1 square plus m sub 2 multiplied by v sub 2 square minus m sub 1 multiplied by v sub 1 prime square is may square yan. After deriving the equation, which is ito nga, pwede na natin i-plug in yung values upang mahanap na natin yung compression nung spring at this particular moment. So, in place of m sub 1, substitute lang natin yung 1.60 kg. Yung ating v sub 1 is 4 meters per second. Yung m sub 2 naman is 2.10 kg. V sub 2 is equals to negative 2.50 meters per second. Substitute din natin dun sa m sub 1 is yung 1.60 kg. Sa v sub 1 is yung 3 meters per second. Sa m sub 2 again is yung 2.10 kg. At doon naman sa v sub 2 is negative 1.74 meters per second. All over, doon sa spring constant na given din dun sa problem na 600 Newton per meter. So, by calculating these values na na-substitute, mag-a-arrive tayo dito sa 0.173 meters. Yan yung magiging final answer natin, which means na yung compression dito is 0.173 meters.